Previously on The CEO's Wife. Priscilla delivered the most epic resignation in history, slamming her letter on Ryan's desk and walking out like the boss she is. She collected a fortune from Smith Group headquarters, documents, and a massive check for liquidating two companies. While shopping with her best friend Nancy, a rude sales assistant insulted Priscilla, telling her she couldn't afford a designer dress. Priscilla's response? She slammed a check on the counter that left everyone speechless. Then Ryan's sister Annabelle showed up with cruel mockery, but Priscilla dropped mysterious hints about Ryan's dark secrets that left Annabelle shaken. When things got heated, Frederick Lincoln's assistant, David, arrived, threatening to remove the Smith family as shareholders. Outside the boutique, Frederick gently removed a strand of hair from Priscilla's face in the most romantic moment, then gave her his exclusive, black VIP card. At dinner, Frederick revealed his tragic past. His parents are gone, and beneath his powerful exterior lies a lonely man craving connection, with only one day left until their marriage becomes permanent. Now, Priscilla faces her darkest moment yet at Regina's birthday party. But her billionaire husband is about to make a public declaration that will shock everyone. The next day, it was Regina's birthday party. Although the banquet was just beginning, most of the guests were already there. In the lavishly decorated banquet hall, more than half of the most powerful figures of the city were gathered together under the exquisite crystal chandeliers, clanking and toasting. Today, Regina was dressed in a lilac tube too-long dress with handmade embroidery. The lining of the dress stopped precisely above her ankles, and on the outside were layers of soft yarn, sweeping on the ground, giving her an unworldly beauty. Holding a glass of wine, she made her way through the crowd, greeting the guests one by one. Her elegant movements and graceful manners made her exactly like a lady from a noble background. Low bursts of praising words could be heard everywhere. Miss Regina is elegant and beautiful. No wonder she is so popular in the entertainment industry. Sure, it's not just that she is beautiful, she's also got herself a good fiancé. Not everyone can marry the young master of the Smith family. She's indeed something herself. It's just been a few years and she's already in such a position. That's not easy. The Walls family is so lucky to have such a daughter. If they could join hands with the Smith family, they would have no rival in the entire city. As the discussion continued in the hall, Regina curled her lips in satisfaction. After all, it was natural to feel proud to be recognized. The Walls present were all smiling, and even Rose couldn't hide her pride. She looked around the hall and tilted her head to ask Paul, "Is Priscilla here?" Paul answered in a low voice, "Not yet." Rose knitted her brows swiftly. She knows Priscilla was the type of person who always kept to her word. Although if she didn't show up, the other guests would be fine. It's just Mrs. Jolie. Mrs. Jolie was the godmother of Priscilla, and also a witness to her engagement to Ryan. The Jolie family has quite a history in the city. Though they were not as powerful as before, they still had quite a few influences, especially in the world of business. After all, Mrs. Jolie was from the Sampson family. Everyone knew they could never afford to cross that family. Though Mrs. Jolie had left the Sampson family many years ago, they had kept a connection with each other. The Walls family sure knew better than to provoke her. The eyebrows of Rose were tightly knitted. At this moment, Mrs. Jolie walked towards them with her grandson, Mark Jolie. "Why is Priscilla not here yet? You told me she gave up on the marriage herself, and that's why I'm here. But now she is not here. You won't lie to me, will you?" Rose hurriedly forced a smile on her face, as if begging, "How come? How dare we ever lie to you? Priscilla just called us. She's now in a traffic jam. It might take a little longer for her to be here. Let's wait a bit, and she will explain to you." Mrs. Jolie swept her glance over the family and scoffed coldly. "You'd better say the truth, or if I find out you are bullying her, I will never let you go. Sure, you don't want to be the enemy of the Jolie and Sampson family, right?" The smiling face of Rose stiffened, and after a while she nodded. "Of course." Mrs. Jolie scoffed again and turned to leave. In the meantime, David also placed an invitation to Frederick. Mr. Lincoln, today the Walls are throwing a party for their daughters, and they also invited you. Are we going? The invitation had been sent 2 days ago, but Frederick was too busy to pay attention to it. Finally, even David has almost forgotten about this matter. Now the banquet had already begun, and he remembered the invitation only now. Frederick raised his head from the pile of documents and swept a glance over the names on the invitation. Is she going? He asked. Yes, Mr. Lincoln. I saw her name on the list, David answered. After a while, he nodded. Prepare a gift. We will be going in a while. Yes, sir, David replied. The clanking and toasting in the banquet hall continued. Mrs. Jolie had sent someone to ask Rose more than once, and every time the answer would be the same. She's on her way. However, it's been almost an hour, and Priscilla still hasn't arrived. Mrs. Jolie was losing her patience and thought they were lying to her. Just when she was going to confront them, a loud noise sounded from the doorway. Everyone looked over out of curiosity, and when they saw the cause of the commotion, they could not help but gasp in surprise. Holy heavens, who is that? She's so beautiful. Priscilla was dressed in a dark green long dress with starry patterns today. Her long and slender body was just a heavenly match for her dress. The stars on her dress were like a waterfall flowing from her waist to the ground, sketching her beautiful, narrow waistline. Her delicate face was now stunning with a thin layer of makeup, and her slightly wavy yet fluffy chestnut hair, draped on her shoulders, was swaying gently as she walked. She walked into the hall, stood not far from the door, and swept her cool glance over the guests in the hall, the aura of her aloof nobility emanating from her whole being. Some guests who made eye contact with her felt a chill running up their spine and could not help moving their eyes. But the face was indeed beautiful, and it would be such a loss if they did not take everything in. Thus, despite the nervousness, they were still reluctant to look away, hoping to watch her face for a few more minutes. People began to mutter in low voices, "Who's that? She's so beautiful." I don't know, maybe some guests from the Walls family. 5 years ago, when Priscilla left the Ramos family, she was still a little bit too young to show her beauty, and then she spent more of her time in school, so not many people had ever met her, and now she's right in front of them, and nobody knows her. But at least Regina knew her. At the moment, surrounded by a crowd of guests, she also felt surprised seeing the woman walking in from the door. Is that Priscilla? Regina asked herself. As far as she could remember, Priscilla was always dressed in her professional attire, and even when she was off work, she just wore some casual clothes. Though she looked neat still, she looked boring and plain. Being around her for a long time, anyone would just think she lacked femininity. Besides, she seldom made up, and she was quite careless with her hair. Her long hair was always left there naturally, making her look old. If she were the daughter of some working-class family, she might also stand out in front of all these ladies of wealthy families, who would just pay attention to their faces and hair every day. She would simply be shadowed. Yet, someone like her was like an angel today in the hall, surprising all of her guests. She could not help clenching her fists. The girls around her all asked out of curiosity, "Regina, who is she? She is so beautiful. Did you invite her? Would she be an actress as well?" "I don't think so. She would be so popular if she were an actress. We should already know her." The muttering around her was just like needles, piercing through her heart one by one. She gritted her teeth. After a while, she took a deep breath. "Don't you know her? She's my sister, Priscilla," Regina said. "Ah, how was it possible?" They all looked shocked. Regina gave a warm smile. "It's all right. Priscilla does look different from 5 years ago. If I just met her now, I won't believe it's her either." There was something in her words, and someone immediately understood her. "You mean your sister had surgery?" "No wonder I thought she was quite ordinary 5 years ago, and she is stunning now. Could it be the scandal of 5 years ago? She might be afraid of being teased with her own face, so she changed it." "Ha, makes sense to me." Regina put on an embarrassed look on her face. Please don't talk about my sister like that. It was not her fault give years ago. Regina, you are just too kind. If she did not steal your work, you would go to the Royal University of Fine Arts already. That's right. It has been too easy for her. She just went abroad for a few years, and people just met her. What about you? Who would ever compensate for your loss and sorrow? If you ask me, now that she's returned, she will definitely go against you, Regina. You'd better watch out for yourself. Their muttering just continued. Regina tried to stop them in a low voice, and a flash of a smile crossed her eyes. In the meantime, Priscilla walked up to Rose. What took you so long to get here? Rose asked. Catherine knitted her eyebrows in displeasure. Priscilla cast a cold glance at her and said in a cold voice, I have shown you enough respect to be here, Mrs. Walls. Enraged by her condescending manner, Catherine swept her glance over her dress and growled. What are you wearing? Today's Regina's birthday party, not yours. Are you here to hook up with men? Priscilla looked at her, and she widened her eyes. She knew Catherine had never liked her, but she had never said such woeful words to her. But today, why would her supposedly mother talk to her own daughter like this? She then thought the rumor might be true that she was suddenly brought home one night. Her heart felt cold, but her face remained expressionless. It's none of your business, Priscilla said. You! Catherine yelled. Stop! A stern voice sounded, and Rose interrupted their conversation suddenly. She summoned a waiter, who then served a drink to Priscilla, and she said in a low voice, Don't make a scene in public. Shut your mouth. Both of you. Reluctantly, Catherine seemed to still have something more to say, but she was then eyed by Rose. She could only swallow the rest of her words. Priscilla curled her lips coolly. It was a very light cocktail that the waiter had served her, with an appetizing alcoholic fragrance. Rose cast a glance at her, and her gaze then stopped at the glass in her hand for a while. Her voice softened. Mrs. Jolie is here. You know how to explain to her about you and Ryan, right? What do you want me to say? Priscilla asked. You just say you are not right for each other, and you have long broken up, and it has nothing to do with Regina, Rose said. Priscilla gave a cold sneer and agreed immediately. All right. After that, Rose took Priscilla towards Mrs. Jolie. Actually, Mrs. Jolie has long noticed her. After all, she was the reason for her being here today. Mrs. Jolie was so excited and walked directly to them with a stagger. It's really you, Priscilla. Priscilla saw her and hurriedly went to hold her hand. Grandmother, when did you come back? Why don't you come to your grandmother? Mrs. Jolie, who has always been so calm, became so emotional, and her eyes grew red. Priscilla also felt touched. I'm sorry, I haven't been able to visit you. How are you? Priscilla asked. Good, I'm good, Mrs. Jolie replied. Rose walked up to them, smiling. Mrs. Jolie, Priscilla has something to tell you. At that, she cast a warning glance at Priscilla. Priscilla sneered in mockery. Why the hurry? I will surely tell Grandma what you have taught me. Can we have a chat first? Mrs. Jolie was stunned, and Rose's face turned pale. What nonsense are you talking about? I didn't... Priscilla interrupted her directly. Grandma, Ryan, and I are not right for each other, and we have already broken up, so there's no need for you to worry about our affairs anymore. Mrs. Jolie frowned, cast Rose a questioning gaze, and said, Priscilla, did she tell you to say these words? Priscilla smiled and didn't say a word. Rose was instantly furious. Priscilla, what do you mean by that? When did I ever tell you such words? It was you who insisted on coming over and explaining to Mrs. Jolie, and said it was the only way to get her to forgive you. Have you forgotten all that? Priscilla curled her lips sarcastically. Oh, what did you do to come over and beg my grandma for forgiveness? At this time, Regina also walked over holding Ryan's arm. She stood beside Catherine and looked at Priscilla with acknowledgement. Priscilla, please stop your stubbornness now. Everyone in our family already knows the things you have done with Shane. We just thought it might damage your reputation and have kept it secret from you. But Mrs. Jolie is so good to you, how can you even lie to her? Shane? Who is Shane? Priscilla asked. Still playing dumb. The second son of the Wilson family, that notorious playboy. It's my fault for neglecting to discipline you all these years, and you have become so shameless, leaving Mr. Smith behind and hooking up with that kind of man, Rose added. Priscilla's expression changed slightly. Everyone knows Shane Wilson for his deeds as a playboy. He spent his days drinking wine and having fun with all kinds of women, and there were also rumors of him being a drug addict. He was married once a couple of years ago, but it was said that his wife ended up getting crippled by him. With the power and wealth of the family, he ended up getting away with it and simply paid the family of the woman's fortune and then divorced her. The incident has been quite stirring in the city, and Priscilla also heard about it. She never expected, though, that Rose would say she had hooked up with this man. Priscilla sneered. Do you even have any evidence? When did you see me together with him? So just won't give up. All right, Catherine, let's get Mr. Wilson here, Rose said. At that, she signed. Since you won't admit it, we could only let you confront each other face to face. Don't blame me if it makes you embarrassed. Priscilla was sullen as her gaze swept towards Ryan, who was standing behind Rose, and he slightly turned his face away to avoid her gaze. She sneered suddenly. Great, great. I thought you asked me to come over today just to make it easier for them, but now it seems you are more greedy and selfish than I thought, and actually come to slander me like this for them. Whether it is slander or not, we will find out when Mr. Wilson arrives, Rose said expressionlessly. Soon Shane Wilson came over with Catherine. As soon as he saw the woman in front of him, his eyes lit up. He had never met Priscilla before, but he had heard. At first, when Catherine approached him about this, he was a bit reluctant until he saw Priscilla's picture, and then he was impressed by her beauty. And this time, when he saw her in flesh, he was even more surprised to find that she actually looked more beautiful than in the picture. He felt so lucky today and picked up a great bargain. Rose looked at him and said in a deep voice, Mr. Wilson, do you know this woman? Shane looked at Priscilla's cool, delicate face, and an obscene smile appeared on his face. Yes, of course I know her. We are quite familiar with each other, right, Priscilla? The way he called her name made goosebumps rise all over her skin. She glanced at the man in disgust and said in a cold voice, Mr. Wilson, we have never met before. I don't know when we started to get familiar with each other. What do you even know about me? Shane rubbed his hands and said with a smile, Of course, I have known every part of you. Rose gave a clear cough. Mrs. Jolie's face has also turned livid. Only then did the man realize that he was being playful, and hastily curbed his lewd look and laughed. Just kidding. Please don't mind me. Then he looked curtly at Priscilla. Priscilla, I know you are angry at me because I have been neglecting you lately due to work. You have been making trouble for many days. Can you stop it and go back with me? Priscilla was so furious that she could barely even sneer, staring at him with a sarcastic expression. Mr. Wilson, you should be responsible for what you say. It's ridiculous. We have never been together. The man frowned at her words. Priscilla, you can argue with me and mess with me if you want, but you can't say that. We have been together for 2 years, and didn't you come back for me? Bullshit, we haven't even met each other. I'm not happy with what you said. He pulled out his phone and showed it to Mrs. Jolie. Mrs. Jolie's face was already red from anger. Priscilla hurriedly said, Grandma, don't listen to his nonsense. Nonsense? Then explain the meaning of this picture of you on his bed, Mrs. Jolie said. What? Priscilla exclaimed. Priscilla, you have a red mole on your left breast and a small, moon-shaped birthmark on the bottom of your foot. If we hadn't made love, how would I know all this? Shane asked as he said loudly in a hurry. Priscilla paled. She turned back and saw Mrs. Jolie dumbstruck, her face full of disappointment. As her godmother, she often bathed her growing up. She sure knew the birthmark on her body. Priscilla's face went pale. She wanted to explain. Rose, however, interrupted her before she could even say anything and said with an apologetic smile, "Mrs. Jolie, don't be angry. She is probably afraid of being scolded by you. She has always been so stubborn." Mrs. Jolie waves her hand, with her face full of fatigue. "Forget it. I have nothing to say about this matter. I'm sorry I messed up your birthday party. I will send someone to make amends someday. Mark, let's go." Shameless. So shameless. Just how could one be so shameless? Priscilla thought to herself. An uproar was heard in the crowd as people started to mutter about what just happened. How could she be so shameless to hook up with Shane of the Wilson Group? "Your lies will be exposed. Just wait and see," Priscilla said to Rose. Priscilla turned to leave, but just then, she suddenly felt weakness in her legs. Rose's cold voice came from behind. "You are right. Lies will always be exposed someday, but what if I indeed make it a fact?" Priscilla looked back at her in disbelief. "What do you mean?" Rose grinned. "Priscilla, how was the wine you drank earlier? I specially prepared it for you." Priscilla's face went pale. A revolting feeling leaped up to her throat, and she was about to run, but Rose yanked her arm in a deadly grip. "Shane, my granddaughter, drank too much. Could you please help her to rest in the guest room upstairs?" Rose said to Shane. The man rubbed his hands in excitement. "Of course," he said. Priscilla glanced at him, anger overflowing into her eyes. An unfamiliar warmth flooded over her body, and she felt herself immersed in a strangely tingling sensation. The man placed his hands on her shoulder. Her eyes widened in fear, and she tried to open her mouth to call for help, but a single sound could not come out of her throat. It must be the drug Rose has used. What a snake, Priscilla thought. The man wrapped her body with his hand and leaned in to whisper into her ear. "Priscilla, I advise you not to waste your strength. This drug not only makes you lose your strength, but it also makes you lose your voice temporarily. You can't do anything now, so why don't you be a good girl and come with me? I will love you well tonight." At this time, although some people around had noticed the commotion over there, they only thought that Priscilla and Shane were really a couple because of what they had just heard. Some even took pictures. Wasn't it normal, sir, a boyfriend to help his girlfriend who had drunk too much to her room and rest? So even though everyone saw it, not a single person came forward. Priscilla was so weak that she couldn't even try to push him away. In fact, if Shane hadn't been holding her up, she would have fallen to the ground with her weak legs. A piercing cold shot up her spine. She knew that if she really went up with this man tonight, her life would be ruined. But she couldn't say anything, and none of the people around knew the truth, much less that anyone would help her. Helpless, she could turn her pleading eyes to that man. A few steps away, Ryan felt her gaze, struggled for a few moments, and suddenly stepped forward. However, in the next second, he was pulled away by Regina. She covered her stomach and said something to him. Ryan's face changed, and he hurriedly picked her up and walked out. Priscilla's face turned stark white. A sudden, sad, and ridiculous feeling rose in the bottom of her heart. She felt so stupid. How could she put her hope in him? How could she be so naive to think that even if he didn't love her anymore, even if the two of them had come to such a point as they were today, they had loved each other after all? Just because, in their youth, they had genuinely loved each other? Even for the sake of the selfish exclusivity of a man, it shouldn't be possible for him to watch her being taken away by another man, she thought. But reality slapped her hard again. She finally understood that some people just didn't have a heart, and that some people were worse than the devil when they were indifferent. She laughed silently and had teardrops rolling down her face. Just as she was filled with despair, a voice suddenly came from outside. "It's Frederick Lincoln, the owner of Lincoln Group, the richest man in the country." The noisy crowd suddenly gave way spontaneously, and all the people looked over in surprise. At the end of the crowd, they saw a slender figure slowly walking in. Priscilla shook as her eyes widened. His steps were quick yet not hurried, emanating his usual aura of aloof and prohibitive nobility. Above his almond-shaped eyes were his arched eyebrows. His black pupils were like the finest black jade in this world, glowing with a faint, cold light. After him were David and a few bodyguards in black, who all stood at the doorway without entering. Only David followed him in and handed the gift they had prepared to the receptionist. "It's really Frederick Lincoln. Why is he here?" someone among the guests murmured, rousing the others back to their senses. Everyone was shocked. Most of the guests who had come today were somewhat powerful and wealthy, and even if they hadn't seen Frederick in person, they must at least have seen him in magazines and on TV. So everyone recognized the man in front of them. The sole heir of the Lincoln family, the owner of Lincoln Group, a billionaire. More importantly, he was also the founder of the uprising entertainment empire, Anderson International. What was he doing here? The voice came from the crowd. Rose was immediately overjoyed, rushing over to greet him. "Welcome, Mr. Lincoln. Come in, please," she said. Following Rose was Catherine, who also rushed forward, their face full of smiles. "I'm so sorry. If I had known Mr. Lincoln would come today." Indeed, when the Walls family sent the invitation to Shane, it was just for formality. Everyone knew that although Frederick had recently come to the city, he did not attend any social parties and wouldn't answer any such invitations. There have been countless people who have flung themselves at this wall already, and naturally, the Walls family didn't think they would be an exception. But to their surprise, he was here today. Rose and the others were overjoyed. Priscilla was also happy. "Frederick, help me!" Priscilla yelled silently. Shane also noticed her expression and sneered. "You want him to help you? Stop dreaming. Look at yourself. What do you think you are? Never mind the Walls family or the Smith family can reach Mr. Lincoln? And you know what people out there think of him? They all say he's gay. He just doesn't like women. The last woman who wanted to climb up to his bed was thrown into the river. I would say you should just stop dreaming." At that, he held Priscilla in the direction of the elevator. Priscilla became anxious. Lowering her head, she bit down on the back of his hand. Although she had been drugged and felt weak all over her body, she still had a little strength left in the end. Plus, how could she not struggle desperately at this point with hope on the horizon? Shane also didn't expect that she would dare to resist at this point. He just let his guard down for a moment, and he was bitten. With a cry of pain and surprise, he loosened his grip, and the woman in his arms immediately crawled away. "Hiss, bitch! How dare you bite me? Stop there!" Shane yelled at the top of his voice. A stern cry was heard by all. But before the crowd could know what happened, a black shadow swept past their eyes and lunged straight toward the man, standing at the entrance of the hall. Frederick took a big step forward and swept Priscilla up. With a hook of his long arm, a delicate figure had fallen into his arms. Everyone was shocked. "Jesus, who is that?" they asked. "Isn't that Priscilla? How dare she touch Mr. Lincoln? He doesn't like being touched by women as far as I know," a woman said. In all his years in the business, there was no word of any woman he had ever been good with. Many businessmen have sent stunning beauties to his bed just in order to him, but those women were all returned intact, and those businessmen all lost their original order. It would be even weirder if someone like him should actually like a woman. Many of the women at present had long had a crush on him, but they never dared to stand up. Seeing this, they all widened their eyes in desperation, and anger ensued beyond belief. "Holy shit, what a shameless woman. Her boyfriend is still here. How dare she seduce another man? Does she want to die?" another said. Priscilla wrapped herself in Frederick's arms, smelling the familiar, crisp fragrance of his body, almost weeping with joy. A feeling of survival from desperation made her grab Frederick's clothes tightly as if she were holding onto a piece of driftwood on the sea to save her life, and even her body couldn't help trembling. Frederick's pupils were slightly cold. Thinking about what he had just heard from the outside, he naturally understood what had happened. He reached out and patted the woman's thin back gently. His eyes lit up slightly as he looked across the room with a cold, stern gaze. Shane had already walked over quickly, and his face changed when he saw Priscilla shrinking in his arms. Rise was also nervous, afraid of offending Frederick because of this, and she hurriedly explained. Mr. Lincoln, I'm so sorry. It's my granddaughter. She's been terribly drunk and forgot her manners. I will take her off immediately. With that, said Shane in a stern voice, you should at least take care of your own girlfriend. How could you just let her pounce on another man in front of everyone? Hearing what she said, Shane stood forward and said in a cold voice, Priscilla, come over. Don't wrinkle, Mr. Lincoln's clothes. Priscilla shrank in Frederick's arms and didn't move, and Kathy frowned when she saw this. She let out a desperate sigh. It's my fault. I should have my own granddaughter as well. I thought it was fine if she just got drunk sometimes. But today, ugh. I'm sorry about that. Shane, go over and pull her back. When Shane was about to make a move, Frederick suddenly spoke in a low and cold voice. Don't you dare touch her. Everyone was stunned. They just could not believe what they had heard. Frederick curled his lips coldly, looking straight at Rose. Mrs. Walls, whose girlfriend did you just say she is? Rose was stunned, subconsciously feeling something was wrong, but she didn't fully understand what he meant. She could only answer by instinct. She's Mr. Wilson's girlfriend. His father is the owner of the Wilson Group. Really? A sneer interrupted her introduction. Frederick's voice was so cold that they could almost see some ice crumbs on his face, and his deep and inky pupils were even more frigid and harsh. When did my wife become this scum's girlfriend? He asked. Everyone there was simply dumbstruck. It was like their eyes were blocked, and they did not hear him clearly. Priscilla? Mr. Lincoln's wife? How could that be possible? Mr. Lincoln, there must be some mistake. She is just an ordinary little girl. How could she be your wife? Rose said. Frederick gave a cold sneer. Ordinary? I don't think so. My wife has always been as radiant as a pearl, but I guess there are indeed some blind fools who can't see it. Rose did not know what to say. Shane knew something must have gone wrong. His eyes rolled, and he tried to slip away quietly before anyone noticed him. However, when he had just reached the entrance to the hall, he was stopped by David. As soon as he looked up, he saw the smiling face of this elite assistant. Mr. Wilson, where are you going? Boom! Did Frederick Lincoln just announce to everyone that Priscilla is his wife? The richest man in the country, the man who supposedly hates women, the billionaire who never attends social events, just publicly claimed the woman that Rose tried to destroy. Rose's face is white with shock. Regina can't believe what she's hearing. Shane Wilson is trapped by David at the door. And Ryan? He chose Regina over Priscilla, and now he's about to find out what a massive mistake he made. But here's the question. What will happen when the entire city finds out about their marriage? How will Frederick punish Rose, Shane, and Regina for drugging and trying to assault his wife? And most importantly, is this marriage of convenience becoming real? The answers are coming in the next episode. But first, hit that subscribe button right now so you won't miss what happens next. We're uploading consistently, and trust me, you'll want to catch every single episode. Turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. That way, YouTube will alert you the moment episode 5 drops. Now, I need to hear from you in the comments section. Question 1. What was your favorite moment in this episode? Was it Priscilla's stunning entrance, Frederick's hero entrance, or that epic "she's my wife" declaration that gave us all chills? Question 2. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfying will it be when Frederick destroys Rose, Shane, and the entire Walls family for what they did to Priscilla? Drop your number below. Question 3. Do you think Ryan is going to regret his choice? And what do you think Frederick will do to Shane Wilson in the next episode? Will there be a plot twist? Give me your wildest predictions. And if you enjoyed this episode, if that "she's my wife" moment gave you goosebumps, give this video a big thumbs up. It helps us reach more romance drama lovers just like you, and it lets us know you want more of the CEO's wife. Drop a comment, smash that like button, and we'll see you in episode 5, where things are about to get even more intense. Thanks for watching, and remember, subscribe so you don't miss the revenge.